Hey guys, my name is Jeffrey Thomas with Jeffrey's Wedding Photography. We're a wedding photography company that primarily serves Dallas and Fort Worth, but I do travel for weddings all over the country. And I'm here to talk to you about 9 different questions that you should be asking your potential wedding photographer. Let's get into it. Question 1. How many weddings do you shoot a year? Now, this will kind of tell you a little bit about if this is a full-time job for them, if this is not. And don't ask them about how much their company shoots a year. Like, them personally, how many do they shoot in a year? And that's so trying to tell you if their price matches their experience too. Because if they're charging 6, 8, 9,000 for your wedding, but this is, they only do 1 or 2 weddings a year, then maybe you need to evaluate that for yourself. But it'll kind of help you gauge a little bit about, where their status is and what their experience is to help make you feel a little bit more comfortable. Question number 2. Is this your full-time job? Now, this is not necessarily a deal breaker if they say that they only do this on weekends, but they still could be transitioning away from their full-time job into this one. And that's okay. That is not a problem at all. But it'll also kind of tell you that if they're charging, pro prices, it'll kind of tell you their experience about how much they have. So keep that in mind. It's not a deal breaker either way. Question number 3. Have you ever met with a couple and decided not to shoot their wedding? Now, that's a question that would kind of get you to know a little bit more about their personality and about what they're like and about how well they mesh with others. But ask them to tell you a story about a couple that they met with, they decided not to work with, about what was going on. Maybe that the photographer thought that she was really difficult, or the groom was really difficult to get along with, and they decided not to work with him. But maybe there's personality differences. Not necessarily that the bride is wrong, but maybe the bride is more like you. And that would be able to highlight if there's going to be difficulties or problems with your photographer now while you're still planning this. So keep that in mind. Question number 4. Why are you a wedding photographer? Now, that's a really great question to kind of gauge what their level of passion is for wedding photography. And if they answer with a question like, oh, it's just a paycheck, well, maybe that's someone that's not as passionate as what you're looking for. And again, it's not a deal breaker. It all has to do with you and what your comfort level is. But these questions are designed to help you gauge how comfortable you are going to be with your wedding photographer. Because you should be very, very, very comfortable with them, that you can trust them on the biggest day of your life. So these questions are helping to start a dialogue to get you on that comfort level. Question number 5. Tell me about the most frustrating bride that you've had to work with on our wedding day. Again, this is kind of a dialogue starter question that will tell you if they're a good fit for you or not. Because maybe the bride that person describes is a lot like you, or maybe kind of like you. And that would help you determine if they are going to be a good fit for the most important day of your life. So again, not a deal breaker either way. That is up to you. But these questions will help you get onto a level where you have a better understanding with them. Question number 6. Now, this one is going to be a little controversial in the photography industry, but ask them if they are able, ask your wedding photographer if they are able to get all the key shots that you want for your wedding. Now, this is very important, and a lot of photographers just roll their eyes, but I think it's very important. You're hiring photographers to do a job for your wedding, to capture it in the best way that you want. And if you want to have 6, 8, 10, 12 different, Pinterest looks that you want for your wedding, then that's what you should get. Because after all, this is a service that you are hiring professionals to do. You should have the final say in what they come back with. So if you ask that question to a photographer and they roll their eyes, and these are really important to you, then maybe you should be finding, another photographer. Question number 7. Do you offer video as well? This will kind of tell you a little bit more about how much services that they offer. And maybe ask them again, do they hire out for this service, or do they do it themselves? Do they have another photographer on staff that does just video? Or are they just going to be doing video intermittently as they do photography? That'll also kind of tell you that, you know, how much money that you're spending in this package is, if it's worth it. Because if it's just a little side extra piece that they're adding on to their photography packages, then that might be them, and it might be another person that just kind of does a video on the side. But if you want that all-encompassing wedding video that captures every single moment of your wedding, the ceremony, the cake cutting, all of that stuff, then you probably want to have a dedicated videographer there for the time that they're recording. So they don't capture still images. All they do is capture video, and then you have another guy that's just dedicated to capturing pictures. But again, it's up to you. So it's what your budget is what you're looking for. It's just another question to kind of get the conversation started. Question number 8. Can you take pictures without getting in the way of the wedding guests? So again, this will kind of tell you how much experience they have. It'll tell you what kind of equipment they have. And if they can capture pictures and video without standing in front of the bride of the groom, or the mother of the bride, or anything else, any other family members, you don't want that. You want them kind of off on the ends of the aisles, or maybe down the center of the aisles, where they're not really blocking anyone, and they're still able to get the images that you want and you deserve from your big day. But again, it's not a deal breaker either way. It's just to get the conversation going. Question number 9. Can we pre-scout the area long before the wedding so we can do some intimate couple portraits shots after the ceremony and before the reception? So I'm finding a trend that I do with weddings is that after the ceremony that happens, right, we do intimate family portraits, and it's usually on the altar or outside of the church, something like that, of the bride and groom, and then their extended family, and then combinations of all the different people. But more couples are wanting now where they want to do intimate couples, just bride and groom, after the ceremony, kind of by themselves somewhere else. And there's a lot of beautiful wedding venues out there where you can go and walk within 1 or 2 minutes and get some amazing, beautiful shots, sitting on a bench with a fountain in the background, walking in the woods, just all kinds of really beautiful stuff. Even if it's just outside of the reception hall, there's very beautiful spots there too. So, you know, it would be nice to meet with the bride and groom as a photographer before the wedding, long before the wedding, months if possible. So 1, the photographer knows where it's at. 2, they've already seen the building of where it's at, and they kind of know how to work with their surroundings to get the best pictures that you want for your wedding. And then it will also give you the opportunity to gauge that photographer's level of interest and how involved that they are with wanting to make sure that you get your perfect day pictures back. So, all right, guys, there you are. 9 questions that you can ask your potential wedding photographer to help you get the best experience out of the best day of your life. If you have any other questions, leave them down in the comments below, and maybe I'll redo this video later on with more questions. But thanks, guys, for watching. I appreciate it.